Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
What's up, LumioseStation, and welcome back to another episode of the Pokemon DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. In last week's episode of the DataDex, I showed you Miss Magius and sort of explained how to use Miss Magius, and I offered you guys the choice of a vote between Nidoking or Nidoqueen. Now, most people would have assumed it would be Nidoking because he is generally the more used, but no! Nidoqueen came out on top, so that's who we're covering this week. But we have this small matter of who we're going to be covering next week to decide. So, this week you have the choice between Throw and Sork being covered next week. So if you want to see Throw covered, please comment down below saying Throw somewhere in your comments, and if you want to see Sork covered, you can drop Sork in the comments as well. So apart from that, guys, you can drop a like on the video to show support for the series, and we're just going to get straight on with it. So first up, Nidoqueen. It's the Drill Pokemon, a Poison Ground type, and number 31 in the National Pokédex. Then we have number 106 in the Kalos Pokédex, and it's also in the Coastal Kalos Pokédex. It's almost like a tongue twister there. But yeah, that's sort of what we have there, Coastal Kalos Pokédex, number 106. Nidoqueen stands at 4 foot 3 inches tall, or 1.3 meters tall, which isn't actually that tall, to be honest. It's pretty short. Weighs 132.3 pounds or 60 kilograms. Egg group. When breeding wise, Nidoqueen is actually in the undiscovered egg group, which means it can breed. Nidorina can breed, Nidoking can breed, but Nidoqueen can breed. This is a really weird, why is it this way? We don't know. We just don't know. Obviously it's 100% a female Pokemon because it's Nidoqueen, not Nidoking or anything like that at all. Then, if we look at the evolution chain, obviously we start off with Nidoran female, and that evolves, or she I guess, evolves into Nidorina starting at level 16, which will then further evolve into Nidoqueen with a Moonstone whenever you want, really, so you can have a level 16 Nidoqueen if you really wanted. Then, base stats for Nidoqueen. If we take a quick look here, we can see it has some varied, sort of average base stats here. Health points are 90, attack is 92, defense is 87, special attack is 75, which is sort of similar to speed, which is 76, and then special defense is 85 too. So it has fairly high health points and attack, pretty high defense and special defense, and then sort of mediocre special attack and speed. Now, even though its physical attack is higher than its special attack, we're actually going to be using more special sets for Nidoqueen because it has a better special moveset along with one of its abilities, which obviously we'll take a quick look at in a second. But overall, its base stats aren't amazing. It's not got extremely high health points or whatever. Generally it's just sort of average. So, first up, looking at Nidoqueen's typing, we have, obviously, Poison Ground, so that means it resists 5 types, which are Fighting, Poison, Rock, Bug, and Fairy, and is weak to 4 types, Water, Ice, Ground, and Psychic. It's immune to the Electric type, and it takes neutral damage from all the other types, Normal, Grass, Fire, Flying, Ghost, Dragon, Dark, and Steel. So, Nidoqueen's typing is not half bad, to be honest. It resists 5 types, is weak to 4. They are fairly common types though, water and ground, psychic, etc. It is immune to electric though, so technically it sort of resists 6 and is weak to 4. So that's not a bad split, to be honest. Obviously water is fairly common, as is ground, ice, psychic, etc. But overall it's got a half decent typing. I'm not going to complain too much about that. Next up, if we take a quick look at Nidoqueen's abilities, the first up here we have, obviously, Poison Point is its first basic ability, which means that contact with the Pokemon may poison the attacker. That's a fairly standard ability for any poison type, to be honest, so there's not much really to say there. And then we have its other sort of basic ability, which is Rivalry, which deals more damage to Pokemon of the same gender. However, not mentioned here is that it does less damage to Pokemon of the opposite gender. So that means Rivalry is really quite a shit ability because half the time it's not even going to help you. It's going to put you on a disadvantage. So really, you don't want to use that at all ever. Its hidden ability here is same as Nidoking's actually, which is Sheer Force, which removes additional effects to increase move damage. So if a move has an extra effect, for example, it could cause paralysis, it could lower a stat, that means that sort of secondary effect is going to get ignored, it's going to sort of be removed, etc. But it's going to increase the power of the move. So actually it's a very helpful ability at times, especially if you're just going for the full out power rather than trying to get hacks off and whatnot. So really it's not a brilliant ability for Mo to use, but a lot of the time it is quite a useful ability anyway. Then if we take a quick look at the highlighted moves, or possible moves you could use for your Nidoqueen. First, that we have a move actually learnt by Nidorina at level 35. So if you want to get this move, obviously you have to level up Nidorina to level 35 and then use the move stone to evolve it. If you do it beforehand, you won't be able to get Toxic Spikes, which is obviously the move. Toxic Spikes, similar to normal spikes, except instead of doing damage, it actually poisons the Pokemon, and if you set up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes, it poisons them with Toxic Poison, so that's very, very good there. Obviously, if you're going for a nice defensive set, that's going to work wonders there. Then, level 43 as a new Queen again, we have Earth Power, so obviously you can get your Nidorina to level 35, learn Toxic Spikes, then evolve it with a Moonstone and still get Earth Power. It's not like you have to choose one or the other, but Earth Power, very powerful ground type move. As I said, we're focusing mainly on special moves here because that's sort of the better move pool, etc. And obviously Earth Power has a secondary effect, so I think lower special defense, so obviously it's going to get boosted up because of that. And obviously it's a very powerful ground type move as well, nice and stab. First up we have TM05 Raw, or not first up, first of the TMs we have TM05 Raw. Again, it's nice and good for a defensive set, because if a Pokemon you don't like comes out, you can always Raw them out, and that'll be that, pretty much. Next up we have TM13 Ice Beam, another special move there, another one with secondary effect, which means it's going to get a nice boost from Sheer Force, and obviously Ice Beam is going to give you some nice coverage as well. Then TM17 we have Protect, again nice and good for a defensive set, especially if you're going to be running Toxic Spikes, because that means you're going to be able to Toxic Storm out, which is obviously a very fun tactic, guys, if you want to go for that route. But yeah, Protect is very good for a defensive set too. Then we have TM34, so we're doubling the TM number, and we're getting Sludge Wave here, and obviously there's another special move, another Stab here too. Sludge Wave is nice and powerful. I think Sludge Wave has a secondary effect, so again it's going to get boosted up by the nice and powerful Sheer Force. Then, next up we have TM82 Dragon Tail, Dragon type move. It is going to be physical rather than the special here, but the reason we're using it is because it actually sends the opponent out of battle. So it's sort of similar to Raw, except it actually does damage as well, plus it can hit some Pokemon that Raw can't. Then, last but not least, we have a transfer move here, which is Stealth Rock. Again, it's another good choice for a defensive set, because Stealth Rock is going to sort of, Stealth Rock up. It's going to, Stealth Rock, Stealth Rock, Stealth Rock. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the moves there, guys. So, if you have any more suggestions for moves, guys, other moves you could use on Nidoqueen, let me know down below. If you want to try and build a physical set and whatnot, let me know down below, and I guess we'll see. But for now, let's move on to the Wi-Fi setups. So, first up, we're going to be looking at the defensive set I've been saying so much about for Nidoqueen, so let's just jump straight into it. Moveset is going to be Ice Beam or Sludge Wave, followed up by Earth Power. Then we have a choice of Stealth Rock or Toxic Spikes, and finally in the last slot we have Dragon Tail, Protect or Roar. Ability here is Sheer Force, as is with both the sets we're looking at, because as I said, it is the better sort of ability option. Nature here is Bold, held item, Black Sludge. EVs 248 in health points, 214 defense, and 20 in speed. So, moveset wise, Ice Beam or Sludge Wave. You can choose Sludge Wave for the stab, or you could choose Ice Beam for the nice and clean coverage there. It's really up to you, which one you use, whether you go for the Sludge Wave for the stab, or whether you just sort of stick with the Ice Beam and get some coverage against, maybe flying types, grass types, etc. It really just depends on what sort of set you want to build, it depends what other coverage you have on your team as well. Then, second slot is Earth Power, that's standard because there's no stab, etc, 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 not much to say there really. Stealth Rock or Toxic Spikes. Now, you can either go one or two ways. This is sort of pair with the bottom move. If you can go for Stealth Rock, you may as well run Dragon Tail or Roar on the bottom, because that way you can Roar or Dragon Tail the Pokemon in and out. Once you set up the Stealth Rocks, you can switch them back in and back out again, so they're going to keep on taking more and more damage from the Stealth Rocks, and that's going to help you out in the long term. If you're going to use Toxic Spikes, you may as well have Protect, because obviously then you can Protect, stall them, Toxic Storm out, and they won't have anything to do pretty much there. So, I guess that's pretty much it for the moveset, because there's not much else to say. Ability Sheer Force, because that's going to boost up your Ice Beam or Sludge Wave and your Earth Power. That's pretty much it there. Nature Bold is going to boost up your physical defense and lower your physical attack, but we're not using physical attack here, apart from the Dragon Tail. Really, the only point of using Dragon Tail is to switch back in and out again. Held item is a Black Sludge, same as Leftovers, so it's going to help you sort of be more defensive, especially when you're running Protect there, because it's going to allow you to get some health points back, etc. And obviously, We're running Black Sludge over leftovers because in case, if in the chance that a Pokemon does Switcheroo or Trick or whatever they might do, Magician, something like that, they're going to get a Black Sludge rather than a leftovers. And obviously if they're not a poison type, the Black Sludge is actually going to do damage to them rather than heal them up, which is very, very good indeed. So better to run Black Sludge because obviously Nidoqueen is a poison type Pokemon. Then, looking at the EVs for Nidoqueen, obviously 248 in health points, not quite max health points, but almost there to get you some nice and powerful bulk there. 214 defense, so not quite maximum defense either, so that's going to bulk up your physical defense there. Then we have 20 in speed. This sort of boost in speed is going to allow you to outspeed some certain Pokemon in the tier that Nidoqueen generally is in, which I think is UU, I'm not sure, maybe NU, I'm not quite sure, I don't really go by tiers too much. But generally, that's sort of, that's why we're using that there. The extra speed boost is going to allow you to outspeed some Pokemon. Not all of them, obviously, because some Pokemon are stupidly fast. But obviously, the extra speed there is going to allow you to sort of outspeed some more. So it's, it's a good sacrifice. Obviously allow you to be a bit more faster every now and again, and allow you to sort of get the win sometimes. So, mainly here it's a bulky set, bulking up your defenses with the EVs and the nature, being defensive sort of thing with a Stealth Rock or a Toxic Spikes, pretty much set them up as soon as you can and Dragon Tail, Protect, Roar, etc. as much as you need to, and attack when you can. So that is pretty much it for the defensive set for Nidoqueen. So let us move on to the second and obviously final set here for Nidoqueen, which is going to be sort of an all-out attacking set. So moveset here is a Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Stealth Rock and Ice Beam. Ability is a Sheer Force. Nature then is a Modest. Held item a Life Orb, and the EVs are going maximum special attack, and then splitting the rest, 128 in health points, 128 in speed. So that's very interesting to look at there. So, moveset, Sludge Wave, obviously that's going to be powerful. That is going to be one of your stabs there, good coverage there. Same with Earth Power, another stab, another good coverage. Stealth Rock, because basically we only have 3 good special attacking moves, to be honest. So, Stealth Rock is a good thing to sort of round off the moveset, because you can't really use anything else. You could use, I don't know, Protect or something, I don't know. Something crazy and stupid like that, but Stealth Rock is generally the best one, because obviously if you set them up at the start of the game, then you're all set. And then obviously Ice Beam is the last one for, again, some more extra coverage and more power, really. Ability is Sheer Force, so Sludge Wave, Earthquake, Earth Power, and Ice Beam are all going to get boosted up by that Sheer Force boost. Nature is a Modest one, which is going to boost to a special attack and then lower down your physical attack, because we're not using physical attacks, it's all good. Special attack boost is quite nice there. Held item is a Life Orb, because when you have Sheer Force, a Life Orb does not do any damage to you. Usually how a Life Orb works, guys, if you weren't aware, I'm sure many of you are, but if you weren't aware, it powers up your moves, but actually, saps some of your health points each turn, hence Life Orb. However, Sheer Force sort of cancels out that sapping. You still get the boost on the move, but you don't actually lose any health points, so a Life Orb is brilliant for an all-out attacking set. You get the boost, but with no sort of no sort of downside. EVs, maximum special attack, so we can get all the power off, all the power, and then split the rest between health points and speed, so you get a bit more bulk and obviously a bit more speed too. So obviously we want this one to be faster than the usual one, I guess. So the defensive set. You guys get what I mean. Anyway, how do you use this set? Really, it's a case of coming in, using Stealth Rock if you can as soon as possible, and then Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Ice Beam it up as much as you can until you really just defeated the opponent. That's pretty much it, yeah. Obviously switch out when you need to, don't sort of get too cocky and stay in. But yeah, generally there's not too much to using this Nidoqueen set because it's a basic attacking set. So guys, that is going to be it for Nidoqueen this week. As I mentioned at the start of the video, guys, please be sure to vote for either Throw or Sulk down in the comment section, and be sure to smash the like button to show support for the series, and obviously the whole of Lumiose, I guess. But for now, you can go and check out all the other awesome content around on LumioseStation. We have some amazing stuff. But this is me out for this week, guys. I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.